Welcome to Project Elephant. This morning we're going to be giving you an insight into one of the many aspects of Project Elephant and what's involved in actually the care of these magnificent animals. Their care is our priority. So every morning each individual elephant goes through a series of health checks and we're going to go through this morning with Tara and show you what they're all about. So first we're going to start off with checking her eye. So what we're looking for really is we're looking for any redness around the eye that could indicate there's any soreness in there, any cloudiness over the cornea, things like that, so that we can perhaps, it gives us the biggest chance of preventing any problems progressing if there are any indeed in the first place. Another important area that we check is their feet. We're going to go through and check all 4 feet, so we're looking for any cuts or abrasions, any problems with their nails that might have sores or areas that could house bacteria that could cause infections, and we give them a good cleaning, give them a good inspection. This is also a position where we would do any foot care should we deem necessary. So what we're going to do first is just give it a wash off with the pressure washer and then give it a good scrub and a good check over really. So as the temperatures are quite hot and we're in the middle of summer almost, there's a lot of horse flies around. The elephant's skin is quite sensitive and quite thin, particularly on their bellies, on their underside, so they are prone to fly bites from horse flies. So just to try and deter the horse flies and give them a bit of peace from them, we're going to give them just a little bit of spray of citronella just to try and keep the flies off them. So it's exactly the same for their back feet. You'll notice from this angle that their feet are shaped in an oval. Their front feet are more circular. That's because they carry the majority of their weight on their 2 front feet. If you notice at their head and their shoulders, the bulk of their body is carried on their 2 front feet. Elephants can weigh between 4 or 5 tons, so there's a lot of pressure on these joints, a lot of pressure on the feet, a lot of pressure on the nails. So that's one of the important reasons why we do check that everything is okay. Good girl, Tara. So again, just checking the tail. Tara was unfortunate; she had hers bitten when she was a bit younger, so it looks a little bit misshapen. It is all well, and there is hair growing through, and it's our job to try and promote that hair growth as much as possible. So we will use moisturiser on certain days to encourage that hair growth.
Head down.
So we ask our elephants to place their head down, and just so we can check the tops of their backs. It's also almost like a yoga workout in one sense for them, so it helps stretch and strengthen all those joints as well. Obviously, any of these behaviours, if they didn't want to do them, then there's nothing we can do about that. It's all to do with the positive reinforcement training. So you'll notice that throughout the training, Liz is using a target stick. She's also using a whistle to bridge the command that she's asking Tara for which behaviour she's asking her to do, and she's also rewarding her with apples and also some specially designed pellet that they really enjoy.
Steady. Good girl.
Okay. So just like ourselves, you can detect if there's potentially an illness with an elephant by temperature, if their temperature is too high or it's abnormally low. So we use an infrared thermometer to take the temperature from each elephant, and that gives us the baseline and what is normal for them. So should there be a major discrepancy with their temperature, then we keep a close eye on them and inform our vets should we feel the need to do so. Another area that we check is their ears, the back of their ears. This is also a place where we take a blood sample from. As you'll see shortly, Tara will present her ear through the port, and that will allow me to inspect the back of it, but also if I was to take a blood sample, then that's the area that I would be doing it. And while she is stood there with her ear out, she is getting positively reinforced through the food and also through the verbal commands from Lizzie as well, telling her good girl, etc. So it's a very positive experience for her.
Good girl, Tara. Good girl.
Okay.
All right, Tara. Back up. Back up. Tara, back up.
So at the end of the health checks, at the end of the series of behaviours, Tara and the other elephants get their large individual reward, which comes in the form of their pellet, their breakfast pellet and some hay. That's for their nutritional requirements. Each individual elephant carries their weight very differently. Some are longer, some are shorter, some are more musclier. So we weigh our elephants on a regular basis to make sure they are in the best condition. So we can adjust based on that weight, and based on those readings, we can adjust their diet accordingly to make sure they have the correct nutrition. So Tara is now just about to get her breakfast pellet because she did a really good job there this morning.
Steady, Tara. Steady.
So that's the health checks finished for Tara. Kate and Mimba have already had theirs this morning. It's an important part of the day, but it's important that it doesn't take too long. They're extremely intelligent animals. Their intelligence levels are the same as a 5 or 6 year old child, and again they're individual with that. Some are cleverer than others, some have better skills at learning different behaviours than others. So it's important we keep their attention, it's important we keep their focus, and it's important we keep it positive for them so that we can get the best out of them and we can aim for the highest level of care for our elephants. So that's just one aspect of Project Elephant. As well as looking after their biological and physiological needs, there's many areas that we have to constantly go through every day to make sure our elephants are cared for to the best possible degree. So join us again where we'll be giving you an insight into another area of Project Elephant.